The SO8000 Narval. The Narval was another machine that you could pick up for the French in order to get access to the aircraft tree, and after the G55S, I think a lot of people were disappointed with the SO8000. The G55S came out for Italy and was a magnificent plane. It was able to annihilate enemy teams with a squad of 3 or 4 of them, and what that meant was a lot of people bought the plane and did really well in it. That caused a bit of community backlash, because obviously you don't want to sell a premium plane which is too good. So the SO8000 came out, and let's just say it wasn't in a great state. It was a machine, and still is a machine, that you don't really see a lot. And the main reason for this is, even though it has really good armament looking forward, it doesn't have the same power that a lot of fighters have around it. So what you find is, in an elongated engagement, the SO8000 is one of those aircraft which will outturn you in like the first part of an engagement, but it loses energy so quickly you can just bleed it dry with pretty much anything very quickly. So that's pretty much how the P-38 is, apart from the P-38 has 2 engines and very powerful, so therefore it can actually sustain it. The Narval, not so much. So pretty much you have 2 options in the Narval. You head on something, or you snapshot something after he basically misses you and goes past and overshoots. If you aren't able to hit either of those, then you're dead. Unfortunately, I believe it did get an airborne though, so that will have helped it out a little bit, and also it is useful in ground forces. Like, it does have good bomb loads, and the French, they have the AD4, so it's very hard to say take something like this, but if you don't have the AD4, the SO8000 isn't a bad backup for it, with its secondary ordnance. So overall in this pack, we have the P-38, which is outshone by the P-47M, the Wyvern, which is really good, for grinding at least, the LA-11, which I would say is overshadowed, and the SO8000, which is unfortunately in the same boat, overshadowed. So, not a great pack for premiums this time. The main thing to say though, as I said, if you add up the 1,000 Golden Eagles and the premium account, these planes in their entirety cost $20, so $5 each. And the Wyvern is worth $30 on the marketplace. So if you want to buy this pack just for the Wyvern, I mean, I wouldn't blame you. But generally, I would steer clear of this pack and maybe wait for the Wyvern itself to go on discount. The other planes you won't really get a lot of use out of, unless you're squadded up with other machines which are very similar in the P-38K. You won't get a lot out of the LA-11 or the Narval. So yeah, probably miss this one, unless you really want to grind out the British tree. The next pack is an interesting one. So this is the Tracks of Victory bundle. It'll cost you 52 Canadian dollars and whatever your regional equivalent. And what you have in this pack is the 5th Canadian Armoured Division Starter Pack. Hell yeah, we got the Stuart boys. And then the IS-2 Revenge of the Hero Brother. And the T-3485E again. And also the M18 Black Cat pack. So this might be one of the last times you can pick the T-3485E in a discount, making it definitely worth it. One of the things that you'll realize in this pack, which is different to the others, there is no Golden Eagles on offer here. There is only premium account, unfortunately. So that's 2 months of premium account, that's $20. So this pack overall is $30 for 4 machines. So let's go through the machines in themselves. The Stuart is a wonderful little machine. It is incredibly nippy, has a nice 37 on it. Will be a gun that you'll have to plink and plonk a lot at, but the Stuart is probably one of the most toughest vehicles to face at lower tiers. A lot of people kind of forget about it because people prefer autoloaders such as not autoloaders, but fast-firing guns like the Panzer IIs, the Panzer IVs, and of course stuff like the Flak Panzer and the Gepard, and stuff like the Gaz truck. But overall, I think the Steward is one of the strongest tanks which we see at rank 1 and 2. I really like it. It's got a nice BR. It gets downed a hell of a lot. And just as a starter vehicle, like let's say you haven't played America yet and you want to get into the American tree, then the M5 is definitely a way to go. I would say it's one of the better premiums to pick up if you are trying to grind through the US tree, and to get the bonus of 15 days of premium on top of it is nice. It's a fast-firing, fast machine in general, and the only issue you'll have with it is overextending a lot, and also your rounds not doing as much damage as you want them to. But overall, a good machine. The IS-2, Revenge of the Hero Brother. I believe this is just the normal IS-2, it's not the IS-2 Mod 44. The reason why we can tell this is because... Wait, is it... Oh no, sorry, it is the IS-2 44. Never mind. Just don't listen to me. Because I looked at the gun on top and realized it didn't have the big AA gun. But yeah, so this is a IS-2 44 without the top gun. Now the IS-2 44 makes up for a lot of issues that the first IS-2 has. The first IS-2 in general has a really good gun on it, but that's really about it. Its armor can be a little bit trolley, but if we look at armor which is actually useful, you have to go to the 44 variant, and that's what you find on the Revenge of the Hero Brother. Also, because it doesn't have that big gun on top, what you'll find is a lot of people will mistake you for the first IS-2, and therefore you'll bounce a hell of a lot more shots than you might actually realize. And the only reliable place I've found to really penetrate an IS-2 from the front is basically its turret cheeks without having to hit the lower glacis of the hull. So, from that point of view, if you can use this machine's speed, because it's another one of these Soviet tanks which has a lot of speed behind it, if you can use it to be able to go forward quickly, take a shot, fire, and then move back, then you'll do well. The 122mm that you find on the IS-2 has diminishing returns once you hit stuff like the IS-4, the IS-3, even sometimes the IS-6 if it gets up-tiered. I just want to make sure it's a 122, yeah, it's a D25T. But at the BR where it actually comes in, which is 5.7 pretty much, unless you count some of the tank destroyers that you never see in the form of the IS-2, it is useful. It is still also useful for the this machine at 6.3, the Mod 44. And therefore I definitely say that it's a good machine to have. The reload is kind of annoying on it, to be honest, with the big gun. But as long as you're able to one-shot pretty much everything you face, you should be alright. There is a few German tanks out there which you may bounce off. Sometimes you just will bounce off the front of Jagdpanthers for no reason, and also Tiger 2s, so just take that into account. But overall, a solid vehicle, which is fun to use, mainly because of its armor and its speed and its donk ability. So, T-3485E, I've already talked about it, so I won't go into it again. Solid pickup, in my opinion. The M18 Black Cat. So, the M18 Black Cat is pretty much just the Hellcat. It is slightly different in the way that it looks, but it pretty much functions in exactly the same way. So, what you have here is a slightly different variant of a Hellcat, which is a Hellcat in every sense of the word. So you get exactly what you get in a Hellcat in the normal tree, out of the Black Cat in the premium tree. Now, does that mean it's good? Yes, it's a very good machine. It's also incredibly fun to play. One of the funnest experiences I've had recently is going in arcade and just tossing the Hellcat about the place and just going around whizzing about. And you can do that in realistic as well. It's one of those machines that you can use to catch the enemy out in general. And what that means is you can set yourself up in a position that the enemy won't or aren't sure about. You'll be able to set yourself up in corners very quickly in a match, be able to get a few kills and then disappear. Like Advanced Orion's a great example of this. If you go on the right side of the map, there is a road down there, I think it's the 8 line. You go down that road at the start of the battle, You rush down there, you can sit in one of the corridors waiting for the enemy to walk past, wait for the enemy to walk past, go behind them, kill them all. The Hellcat and the Black Cat give you that opportunity, and therefore I'd say in that sense they are very fun. You do definitely need game awareness when playing this thing though, because first of all it'll get killed by aircraft very quickly, and second of all it can be hull broken. So just understand that. Somebody will HE you, somebody will track you, and then you're pretty much dead. Somebody will shoot you in the side and your whole thing will blow up. But overall, it's a fun vehicle to use, that's all I can say at the end of the day. So in this pack, we have the T-34, which is good, the Black Cat, which is good, the IS-2, which is good, and also the Stuart, which is good. The only downside is, of course, either if you're past rank 2 US, then the Stuart's going to be kind of useless. But all the others all scale to rank 5, apart from the Black Cat, which scales to rank 4, which is still pretty good. You don't get any Golden Eagles, though. So you just sat with the premium account. 60 days, as I said, of premium, so 2 months is still pretty good. That's 20 bob, so you're paying $30 for these vehicles, Canadian. I would personally say, from my point of view, it's worth it, because I think coupling the IS-2 and the T-34 make a really nice little combo, especially if you're grinding through rank 4 or 5 Soviets. And the Black Cat, I've had so much fun in the Hellcat over the years, so therefore the Black Cat's worth it. And the Stuart, if you're new to the US ground tech tree, is a really, really good pickup. So since it's discounted, I'd pick it up with the pack. If you don't want to, though, you could just pick it up by itself and be able to grind through the Americans. The next one is the Wings of Victory bundle. Now, you get a hell of a lot of stuff in this one. We're going to have to work out if it's worth it or not, though. So the first thing to realize is, once again, you don't actually get any Golden Eagles. You only get premium account. So, 15 days, 15 days, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. So you get 90 days, 100's 26, 60 is 20. We'll call it 23, 24, something like that. We'll call it $23. So, oh, no, there you go, there's 24. Just make it round up. So $50 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, so 6 aircraft, $50 is pretty much what you're looking at if you take away the premium accounts that it's going to, give you. So we start off with John Plagueis's Spitfire LF Mark 9. The LF Mark 9 is a fun plane to use. It is, of course, a Merlin-engined Spitfire, probably one of the more advanced ones in the tree. The issue is it sits at a BR, which is pretty much the same as the early Griffins, and as we can see later down the list, we have Pendergast, or Prendergast, I should say, Spitfire Mark 14E. So even in this pack itself, the LF Mark 9 is overshadowed by a machine which is better than it. Basically, the way to see it is the LF Mark 9 is more maneuverable. The Prendergast's is much more actual rank 4 material, meaning that you can turn with it, you can be able to actually play the meta in it. Basically, energy fights get to altitude, where the LF will just get left in the dust because it's not quick enough. So yeah, the LF Mark 9 is already overshadowed in this bundle itself. The P-51D, the P-51D-10 is always a fun little machine to use. The reason for this is because it's useful in ground forces and air forces. In air forces, what you'll find is your teams will generally fall apart. The way I used to play the P-51 is get a squad of 4 people together, and you would be able to carry easily in it. You had enough ammunition, you had enough energy as long as you climbed to about 5,000, and you could deal with basically a whole enemy team with 3 or 4 players. So Ray Wetmore's P-51D-10, I would recommend as long as you have a core set of people that you play with in realistic. If you don't and you just want to play it by yourself, then it's not great, is it? It really isn't that good in itself. It's not a good individual plane, it's a good collective plane. The P-47M1RE, is basically competition to Ray Whitmore's P51. In that sense, the P47 I would say is a better buy than the P51. I think you would use it more. The reason for this is its ordnance for ground forces is a lot better. And also on top of it, it gets an airborne and aerialistic, meaning that you are able to climb above everybody, just like you would in something like a P47N. And because of that, you can annihilate bombers which are coming forward to you. The HE-177 became very popular very quickly. You can just annihilate all of them out the air. You can annihilate attackers with all the guns in your wings. You have a ton of ammunition. You have a ton of energy at higher altitudes. The P-47M is a monster, and it will continue to be a monster as long as it's left at the BR it is, or if it doesn't get an airfield spawn. So the P-47, in my opinion, is insane. A really good machine as long as you play it well. The Yak-9M is a solid pickup. The main issue with it is its overheating issues with its engine. And the LA7, well, if you played it in the normal tree, or if you played it anywhere else, what you'll find is it's a very average fighter. It's good at all aspects, but it's not great at anything. So specializing in it is not the easiest thing to do, which is why you don't really see a lot of LA7s about. You see a lot more Yaks at that BR. But personally, I would actually take the LA7 over the Yak-9. What we're seeing in this pack, or this bundle I should say, is a lot of crossing paths. So you've got both of the rank 4 premium Spitfires. You've got the rank 4 US planes, and then you've got the Yak-9M and the LA7, which also kind of cross paths. So if you actually want to use these machines to grind out all of the trees, it would have been nicer to see a Japanese plane thrown in here. But then again, I suppose it's the Victory bundle, so it doesn't really make sense to do that. But overall, yeah, the Yak-9M, the LA7, they're both competent planes. I just personally believe that there isn't really anything special to them. And the issue with that is once you find a plane which you're up against, which does specialize in a specific area, he's just going to use that to his advantage. And if he doesn't, then you'll cream him. If he does, then you won't be able to touch him. And that is the main issue. They're both good climbers, both good at maneuverability. They struggle at high altitude, but most fights don't really take up there nowadays. They normally take up a lot lower than that, so you don't really have to worry about it. And then Prendergasts. Prendergast Spitfire, the FR Mark 14E. It's a Griffin Spit. It's a wonderful spit. I really like the early Griffin Spits, and Prendergasts is no different. It is a really nice aircraft. It has the 50s, it has the 20s, it has everything for everyone in the family. The only issue is its secondary armament isn't the best. But if you're looking for a plane which isn't the Wyvern, a rank 4, and you actually want to be a fighter, then this is the one you want to pick for Britain in order to be able to grind through the British tree. It's a really solid pickup, and it's one of the main reasons why the LF Mark 9 is not a good pickup. Because Griffin Spits were added to the game. So, overall, what do we have? We have pretty much 2 competent American planes. We have 1 competent British out of the 2, because there's no reason to take this over this. And then you have Pavel and Sergei's, which are both competent Soviet planes which have their own issues. So overall, you're getting about 3.5-4 planes out of the 6 here, which are useful for $50. So personally, I would say that isn't that useful. But once again, it's a really good bundle to pick up if you're trying to grind through one of these trees. Like if you want to get jets for America, this is a really good pickup. If you want to get the experience of flying Griffin Spits in a fully upgraded environment, and of course you pick up Prendergasts. But if we're talking about overall general value, I don't think that's here really. Then we have this one. What's this one? Let's do this one first. So we have the Royal Guard bundle, and if you don't know what this was the pack which was offered when British Ground Forces were actually released. You get a Sherman Firefly, you get a Black Prince, an Achilles, and an A-13. So the first thing to understand is this is about $50. You do get some interesting stuff with this, so you don't just get premium accounts, you also get some liveries. So that is in the form of camouflages and stuff like that, and also maybe decals. I'm not sure about that one. But as you can see, you get the standard premium account for 15 days. So that's 60 days. So 60 days is $20, I believe. Yep, $20. So what you're paying for this is let's say $28. So $28 for 4 machines, that's $7 a pop. And what you're getting is a rank 4, rank 3, rank 3, and rank 1. So if you are new to the game, or if you're looking to grind out the British tree because you haven't really touched it that much, this is going to be the pack for you. It is as simple as that. If you're in my position and you're in rank 5 British, then obviously this pack isn't going to be that useful. The only thing that's interesting from it, from a collector's point of view, is this guy right here, the Black Prince. So if you don't know what the Black Prince is, it's pretty much a Churchill which was mounted with a 17-pounder, obviously heavily modified from the Churchill, but that is the best way I can describe it without really you know, going into that much detail. The Black Prince in game has many issues, the main issue being that it's too slow and its armor isn't good enough against what it actually fights. I just want to check the BR of it. Let's see, where are you at? Okay, battle rating is 6. So 6 is an interesting BR because you can either get down tiered into 5.3, 5.7, or you can get up tiered into 6.7. Now, if you get up tiered into 6.7, I mean, we've already talked about the T29, we've already talked about the Tiger II, they'll rip you apart. They'll absolutely annihilate you, and also with the new French stuff like the autoloaders, they'll rip you apart. There's a flat zone where the driver sits, where the Black Prince is, and it's very hard to angle it away from anything. It's the same on the Churchill, and they'll just go straight through it, and they'll annihilate your whole tank. You're also not very quick. You don't have good enough armor when you're up tiered at your tier. If you actually get into a battle at your tier, which doesn't really happen, you either get down tiered or up tiered at this point, then your armor's sufficient, but the speed is still an issue. And then if you get down tiered, then it's actually kind of a fun vehicle. See it as a mouse. In a full down tier, a mouse is a fun vehicle to play at 6.7. If it gets up tiered, it's dead to rights. If it plays at its own BR, it's pretty much dead to rights as well, unless you get on the right map. The Black Prince is pretty much the same deal. But from a collector's point of view, it's definitely a pickup from a collector's point of view, because it's been on and off the market so much, you never know when it may come back. And from that point of view, with the 17-pounder that it has, with the extra bit of armor, and also the interesting model that it has, which is different to pretty much everything else we have in game, I'd say it's a pickup from that point of view. The Firefly is a Firefly. There's nothing real different with it. There's a few bells and whistles which are slightly different, but overall, it's a Firefly. The M10 Achilles, same thing. It's just an M10. And the A13 is going to be useless for the majority of people, but as I said, if you're new to the game or you haven't ground out any British, this pack is actually pretty good. It's just, for somebody like me, it isn't very useful because I've already gone past a lot of these vehicles. But the M10 and the Sherman, they both have great guns. Armor is unreliable. The M10's armor is probably better than the Sherman's. They both struggle with maneuverability, and also reload isn't the best. But overall, they're okay machines. What you'll never have an issue with is penetrating. What you'll have an issue with is doing damage, and also being able to trade effectively with a lot of the APC-BC, and also a lot of APHE rounds, which come at you all the time. The A13 is just a fun little piddly machine. It has no armor. It'll get killed by machine guns. So yeah, you may want to stay away from that. But yeah, the M10 and the Sherman, they're okay vehicles, very average, but they're solid premiums in that sense. And then the Black Prince in itself is a collector's item, and not something that should be taken with, you know, a lot of confidence into a game. So overall, to me, this bundle is only useful if you're new to the British tree, and that's about it. If you're somebody who's ground like me to like rank 3, rank 4 or 5, then there are much better tanks in the actual tree than stuff like the Black Prince, and these two are already in the tree, and so is this one. So yeah, it's pretty much as simple as that. You're paying $28 for a Black Prince at the end of the day. That's the way I see it in my head. Is that worth it? To me, yeah. To somebody else, maybe not. Now the last one is just a simple one. So you get a premium account for 180 days. So they've already done, according to this, a discount on the 90-day and 365-day. Why not put it in the middle? Why not also have a half price on the 180-day as well? For me, these are the more important than the bundles ones. It's always nice getting a shiny vehicle, but the day in, day out grind of getting other vehicles through the trees is what you want to be benefiting from the premium vehicles themselves, and a premium account will also help that along, even if you don't have those premium vehicles. So $20 for 180 days, so that's half a year, is an insane value for money, and you also get, this is pretty much what you get from a premium account. You get a plus 100% RP, plus 50%, plus 100% here, plus 50%, and 4 decal slots. So you can see, a lot of people are complaining about Silver Lions right now. This will help you. I know a lot of people don't like the idea that this model is in place, that there is a premium account and a non-premium account thing, but at the end of the day, this is a free-to-play game. And if you want to be able to get all of the benefactors of it and be at a point where, not that you're on the same level as everybody else, but that you're not hurting so much for stuff like Silver Lions, picking up one of these premium accounts will help you out. Obviously, if you're on the lower end, there's the 90-day for you. I think the best one, though, if you, especially with the summer coming up, let's say you're just finishing, your school year, or if, you've got some time off in the summer like I do, the 180 days for me is perfect, because that'll last me throughout to the end of the year, and I'll be good. So yeah, it's all about planning ahead, knowing if you're going to have time or not. And overall, $20 for this is an absolute steal. This offer doesn't normally come. I think we'll have one more of this type of offer in this year, which will be the anniversary for War Thunder, which is way off right now. So hopefully, this is the one that you should pick up. Either this or one of the 50% for the 90s or 365. For the bundles themselves, I've given my opinions. This one, I wouldn't get it personally. This one I would. This one I probably would. And this one I wouldn't. And this one I wouldn't. So that's my opinions. If you have any different thoughts, let me know. And on top of everything else, I'm going to go and have a little sunbathe. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.